Hi, everyone. I am so excited about today's session because I started my YouTube channel just to share my experience with you guys and show that anything is possible. I did that after I had the privilege of being up on Dr. Joe Dispenza's stage. And then I started getting messages from people saying that I want to get up on that stage too. And then about 2 years ago, a few months after I had been up on that stage, I had this vision where I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I got to interview all sorts of amazing people who have accomplished extraordinary things in their lives? So that's why I called my YouTube series Straight from the Source initially. And then I started making my own videos, and that was that. I opened up a coaching group called Helpings, and 10 brave souls decided to join me on that path. And Anna, who's here with me today, was one of them. I imagine that there will be a bigger stage in the future, but for now, I'm going to start giving this little stage of mine to people and members of my group who have already achieved extraordinary things in their own lives. So today I would like you to meet Anna. And first of all, Anna, thank you so much for being here with me. And would you kindly introduce yourself and tell us how you ended up on YouTube and in Helpings?
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning and hello, everybody. Yes, I have had a lifelong issue which basically changes the shapes of my bones. It does its own thing. There's not really very much help medically wise, apart from one thing that helped me for a few years, but that stopped. And the issue is doing its own thing. From 3 till 16, I was on penicillin. That was all they could offer. Well, it was what they thought was the best thing. My mum had to give it to me on a spoon, a powder of penicillin in one hand and a spoon of jam in the other. I had casts made from my legs that my dad used to have to put on at night time. It was always this black hat hanging over of, you must do this, you mustn't do that, you must do this, you must do that. Most of my adult life, I have refused to believe that I'm any different to anybody else. My neck is totally fused, apparently. All the vertebrae, I've only got movement in the very top vertebrae of my neck. So the cervical spine is just fused together. So I've got no, this is my head movement. The actual back of me is sort of like a very ingenious shape. My spine is very dancey. My knees are false, my hips are false. I had them done quite a few years back. My fingers, they have their mind of their own. The shoulder bones, the front of me, all of it. These big bones at the front of your neck. Most of it is being played around with, has been played around with by whatever this is for a long time. And over the last 2 years, it's been drastically played around with. There's been a bugger. It's really knocked me about badly this last couple of years. Never have I been this non-independent. I decided that I needed to do something myself. I'd known about Joe Dispenza, courtesy of my lovely neighbour, and I came onto Stephanie's channel and then decided I would be very brave and sign up for helpings. Yeah, I think that's been the most fantastic thing I've done in such a long time, and so beneficial, regardless of the marvelous things that I'm finding are happening to me. The meeting of other people and getting to know other people and people's enthusiasm for everybody, the levels of the joy, and there's such a high vibration in the group. It's marvelous. Yeah, I came to Stephanie because A, I liked her videos, and B, I thought I have to do something myself.
So now that the stage is yours and you get to do anything up there, what would you like to say to someone who is thoroughly lost, riddled with some health issue or any other problem that they're facing and they don't know what to do about it?
Firstly, watch Stephanie's videos. Secondly, do not wallow. Do not wallow in your own problems. Think of happy things. That's easy to say. Every time I find myself getting a touch of the why me, I think, well, what I can do all these things. And when I do these things, I'm happy. Then I find when you're happy, you can do a bit more and then a bit more. I've learned so much from Stephanie. It's so hard to remember what I didn't know before. But before, I think you just think that there's nothing you can do. You can control your mind. You can think your own thoughts and not let other people's influences run your life. And that, I think, is what happens when you're in the medical world a lot,
Yeah.
is you tend to believe everything everybody says.
I always try to quantify it by asking new members to give me a number between 1 and 10, 10 being the best feeling, how you felt before you entered the group and what your life was like.
That'd be a minus. That wouldn't even be a one. That would be a big minus. Physically and possibly mentally, I was in the biggest pickle in my life. It took me a lot of strength to actually click the button and to say, yes, I'd like to join. I was at that crossroads where if I don't do this, this is my forever. So I have to do something. So I did. And from that day, well, things have been frustrating because it takes a while to implement some of the things that you have to do. And it's an ongoing job, but it's a brilliant job because you get so quickly to see such good results. And apart from anything else, you feel better in yourself. And that is a massive thing. When you're confined, like I am at the moment, to one place, to actually be able to sit here and think of a certain thing and feel like I'm getting a warm hug or like I'm floating on a cloud just because of what I'm thinking about. It's just amazing. And it's free.
I'm crying because I intentionally didn't ask much about anyone's current situation or symptoms when I started this group, because I think most of us spend so much time talking and thinking about that thing that it takes over our minds and our worlds. And so I didn't quite understand how tough your situation was when you came into the group. And what has been the coolest thing about you is that you are so fucking brave. And the way you share whatever is going on inside your mind and what you're struggling with, which is more than most people struggle with, not that it's a competition, when you are sat in a chair and you are entirely dependent on other people, that obviously adds a bit of spice to the story because you can't get up and do whatever you want. That's what has been such a privilege to see, how you go about things and how your vibration and your mood has lifted quite quickly. If you think about the fact that we started doing this in February and now we're at the end of May, and you've already had a moment, an experience that most people crave their entire lives and that they never get to, but that's in a matter of months. Would you like to tell us what happened during Awesome Wednesday? And did you feel that was going to happen? What is Awesome Wednesday?
Firstly, Awesome Wednesday was a month ago, and I still am coming to terms with it. I'm still shocked by it. I still stare at my hand and can't believe it. Secondly, Awesome Wednesday, there was two brilliant things. Firstly, I was able to stand long enough in the bathroom at the sink to wash my hands. My hands are quite unique, and to get them into the warm water is lovely, and it doesn't happen very often due to the fact that of the rest of me is not compatible with standing at the sink. I stood at the sink, I washed my hands, lovely. I had some rings on my hands, which had worried me because they were left over from my collection. I collected rings all my life. And when things started to go a little bit strange with my bones, when they started to deform and quite rapidly, I removed what rings I could, but there were 7 rings that I could not get off due to the fact that the joints had actually expanded. Something grows in the joints, and the joints just get bigger, and it's bone. It's not soft. It's not like fluid inflammation. It is bone, hard. It's your actual bone just getting bigger. 7 rings are stuck on various fingers and both my thumbs. My thumb on my right hand, 2 really chunky rings. All my rings were bought for me by various people, and they all mean so much to me. These 2 rings on my thumb, one was the last one my dad bought me before he passed away, and another one was a collective present from a very lovely group of friends. So although we looked into having them surgically removed, I was reluctant because I didn't want to get messed up. Also, the property I'd got to go to was inaccessible to me at the moment, physically. Back to Awesome Wednesday, I'm washing my hands. My sister gets me a little cloth to wipe between my fingers, and something just felt weird. Then there was a noise on the floor, and I looked, and one of the rings that had been embedded in the top joint of my thumb on my right hand was on the floor. And I looked at my sister, what just happened? And she said, well, you still got the other one. What happened? And she touched the other one, and it just flipped off my thumb. And we both stared at what the last time I looked at my thumb, the top joint was huge. The rings were pushed down, forced so hard onto it that they wouldn't even turn. By this top joint, they were forced right down onto the other big joint, so they won't turn round. This thumb is now the smallest I've ever seen it in years. I still can't believe it.
Then there was something else significant that happened, because before Awesome Wednesday, your inflammation levels were higher than usual, right?
I had a blood test one day. The hospital rang the next day to say, was I sure I didn't have any infections, because my inflammatory levels were so high that they were concerned. And I just said, no, everything's fine, as how it has been for the last couple of years. One of them was 117. That was a few days prior to Awesome Wednesday. And in the last couple of days, I've had another blood test, and the hospital rang again to say that the inflammatory levels were high, but one of them was coming down. And the one that was 117 is now 89, going down, which I can do with my thumb, going down. The going down with the inflammation is wonderful.
Wow, that is huge.
There's been patches of skin on my leg that have been strange and causing me issues for a lot of years. And my legs at the bottom are the best they've looked for I don't know how many years. There is no dodgy skin there. That is absolutely lovely. I can't see all of me to check what other miracles have happened. But it is like the snowball effect, because the good things happen, then you get so excited. So you keep your energy and your vibrations up, and you're so happy and you're feeling so good inside. And then before you know it, something else has happened. These things that happen are things that I would never have expected. I never thought about them. To me, my rings on my thumb, the only way they were ever going to come off was A, if I cark it, or B, when they get cut off, because they have to be cut off.
Yeah.
There was no other alternative. But there was an alternative that no one knew about, that was already being planned by somebody. I'm unable to get the thumb round to the right angle, but on the front of my thumb here, there is still the circle, because the ring that was on the top had a big stone in it. So you had a hollow bottom, and the circle of is still imprinted into the joint.
Whoa.
There you go. That's what thinking good thoughts, thinking kind thoughts, thinking nice thoughts, not getting angry, not getting upset, just being chilled out. That's what happened.
Right now, from a scale of 1 to 10, where are you most of the time?
Most of the time, I'd say I'm a good 8.
That's a very good place to be, right?
The most important thing, Stephanie, is that you have to find to know you, to know someone as ingenious as Stephanie, who can coax you into doing these things and ease you into all this wonderfulness that we're experiencing in the group. That's the main thing, is to have somebody like Stephanie.
Mm.
Absolutely marvelous. And thank you so much. I never would have been here without you.
I'm so grateful that you're part of this group. And I don't know if you've noticed, during the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's been sort of a shift happening inside the group where every other person is having very similar epiphanies as you are having, where you're getting lighter and lighter and your mood is lifting and you're having so much fun doing the exercises and really feeling the difference. To me, as a teacher, that is the most beautiful part, because I know, you've already proven that the body is changing and that everything is evolving sort of in the right direction. But it is not about the healing. It is about the journey. It is about you knowing what you're capable of doing and knowing that you have the power, and dragging yourself to begin with out of victimhood, but then gently easing yourself into the world of possibilities. It's like Christmas every day if you let it be, where you just don't know what's gonna happen. If the quote unquote only thing that happens is that you spend your day being in awe and grateful to be alive and excited about how much better you're feeling, then you've surpassed about 99% of the world population. That's not a bad thing. You're literally seeing the result of your mind, of what you are doing with your mind in the physical realm. That is just mind-boggling, right?
You get such a sense of achievement all the time when you catch a thought creeping up, when you can change something, when you change something that you were then about to say and realize, no, this is a better way of saying that. This is a better way of putting that. This is a more happy way of saying things. That is a sense of achievement goes with that all the time, which then just prompts you to do it again and again.
It goes from you blaming yourself and being angry at yourself and being really frustrated with life in general, but also your own mind and how you're feeling, to gently nudging yourself and kind of course correcting throughout the day. But with love, you can train a horse and you can break a horse, but that's not the way you train an animal. You train a dog and you make it fun and you give it treats. We're no different as humans. We respond to love and kindness. And when you see what you do and how your mind responds when you treat it with respect and with gratitude and appreciation, then you're going to be mind blown by what happens next, because the only thing that can happen is something very, very good.
And for being thankful for yourself and the group. The group is just amazing.
Yeah.
The group is just marvelous. And going back a bit about what you said about me being brave and saying things how they are, to me, that's the only way to say things, because if my situation could help someone else, no good putting icing on the cake, is there? You have to say it as it is so they know what they got to deal with. You're presented with the problem, here's the solution, there you go, off you go, get it done.
Anyone who's in a physically challenging situation, the regular way of dealing with it is that you blame someone or something, you know, your parents, the doctors, your upbringing, society, the lack of whatever that thing is. But then the magic really happens when you say, okay, so this is where I am and these are the circumstances. And what do I do now? What do I do? I will stop thinking and caring about everything that goes around this little space of mine, and I'll get to work and let's see what happens. And you've already proven it. You have to let go of the story and you have to not make it about anyone else but you. And that's what most people are not willing to do. Kudos to you for doing that.
I think I'm very lucky because my situation lends itself to the fact that I can concentrate on this a lot more hours than someone who is in the quote unquote normal world. In my world, just me and my little dog and my kind people who help me. I sit here and I can soak up all the information. I can reread the posts in the group. I can get stuck right in. And that, I think I'm very lucky there.
That's where your mind is so brilliant, because most people would say, well, I'm stuck in a chair. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. Life is hard. And you're looking at it exactly from the right point of view, where you see the blessings in terms of all the time that you now have to do all the things that you need to do and that are already working. It's just a matter of time before you'll be out in that field again, you know, tending to the fences and running around with your dog. Because if the mind can produce the situation you're in right now, then it can produce any other situation too. And it doesn't matter what the trigger was or what the old story was. The only thing that matters is what you're doing in this moment, because that's what's going to create the future. And that's the cool part about it. Like, we don't have to go back healing the traumas and healing all our past relationships. The only thing that matters is your perception of you in this moment, and that's all. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we finish this call and your time up on this beautiful virtual stage?
To anybody, whatever problem, whatever you're dealing with, whether you're dealing with something in your body, in your mind, on the inside, on the outside, don't be shy. Don't shut yourself away. Even if it's looking to you like there is nothing that can be done, there is always something that can be done. You can always do something. I was at the total depths of despair. And if I hadn't have clicked that button and started this journey with Stephanie and the group, who knows where I would have been. But I definitely would not have been sitting here looking at my little dog sunbathing on the back of her chair, talking to the most wonderful lady in the world and being as happy as Larry. So anybody, whatever you think you've got a problem with, it can always be fixed by you.
Amen. I have nothing more to add. Thank you so much, Anna, for doing this. And I can't wait for our next time when you're up on the stage again, because I know it'll happen. I just don't know when, and that's the best part about it.